Hi everybody, I hope everybody is fine. So I'm here with a new video that is probably my first video, and it is about linguistic borrowing. So before starting the video, let me tell you that what areas are we going to cover in it so that it becomes useful to you. So let's start that. First I'll be focusing on language and borrowing, that what is language and how it is impacting how we are borrowing the words in language. Then we will move on to the loan words, and I'll be telling you what is meant by loan words, and then we will move on towards I will tell you about something about linguistic landscape as well, that how and uh, I will give you some of the examples that how we are using the other languages words in our own daily lives, and I will show you some of the pictures of linguistic landscapes from Karachi, okay, from Pakistan, because I am making this video from Pakistan, so I'll be discussing some of the linguistic landscapes that are very common in Pakistan. So let's get started. So, as you all know that no language is exactly pure. I mean, we are using the languages, but there is some impact of other languages as well. We are not using the pure language, because if we talk about English, then there is some impact of German, or I can say Latin, or there are some other languages impact on English as well. There are some of the words that we have borrowed from that language, and we are using it very commonly in our English language. Similarly, if I talk about Urdu language, as Urdu and English, they both are very common, and they are the languages that are used in Pakistan. So if I talk about Urdu as well, then in Urdu we have borrowed some of the words from Arabic as well, and from Latin, Persian, but we are using them and we are so familiar with them that we do not realize that we are using the other languages words, and we are very habitual of using those words. Now let's see that what does exactly borrowing mean. So you can see that the word borrowing is very clear by its word, by its lexical word, that is in English language, acquiring or borrowing, that is also called lexical borrowing, that is the interaction by which something from one language is adjusted for use in another. So as I already mentioned that we are using the words, we are borrowing the words of the other languages as well. So that is called linguistic borrowing, that we have borrowed many words from other languages and we are using it in our daily lives. Now let's discuss that what are loan words. Loan words are the words embraced by the speakers of one language from an alternate language, that is the source language. A loan word can likewise be known as an acquiring. So, a loan word is a word that is adopted from a foreign language but without any modification, that is, without any change. We are using that word exactly from another language. We have borrowed that word from another language and we are using it. Let me give you one example of it so that it is quite clear to you, that the word cafe. So the word cafe is a very common word and we are using it very commonly. We have seen this word written in many places. So what is the meaning of that word and what from where it is derived from? So the word cafe is a French word and it means coffee. Similarly, a word bazaar. It is very commonly used in Urdu language, but it is a Persian word that is used in Urdu language as well, and in English it means market. So you can see that how we have borrowed the words from other languages and we are using it in our daily lives. Okay, so let's discuss about Pakistani English, the English that people spoke in Pakistan, and it's very common. So some of the words borrowed in Pakistani English because of the influence of the dominance hypothesis. despite the fact that those words already exist in English language, but speakers use other forms of Urdu and local languages just to highlight the linguistic appreciation, and that's all. Okay, so let me elaborate a little about Pakistani English. That Pakistani English is also known as Paklish or Pinglish, and it is a group of English language varieties spoken and written in Pakistan. It was first recognized and designated in the 1970s and 1980s. Pakistani English has its features common with Asian and South Asian English because it is its sub-variety but is still an independent variety. And moreover, it has internal as well as external functions which makes it an independent variety. Now, moving on towards the linguistic landscape. Now, what is linguistic landscape? We are going to discuss some of the examples of linguistic landscape as well. So, the term linguistic landscape was first utilized by Landry and Boris in 1997. He stated that it is the language of public street signs, promoting bulletins, roads, names, place names, business shop signs, and public signs on government structures joined to frame the phonetic scene of a given region, area, or metropolitan agglomeration. So, according to this definition, linguistic landscape is the written words and icons of public road signs, advertising billboards, street names, place names, road directions, commercial shop signs, and public signs on government buildings. Now, let us discuss some of the examples of linguistic landscape. As I already mentioned earlier that I am making this video from Pakistan, so I'll be discussing some of the examples that I have taken from Pakistan. I'll be showing you some of the pictures of street signs and billboards that I have taken from the roads, the streets from Karachi. So let's see that. Okay, so here in Pakistan, there is the impact of two languages, that is English and Urdu, and people are using Roman English to write or to deliver their thoughts. That is very common in Pakistan. So here we can see that on the billboards, or you will see in further examples that I have mentioned here in the other slides, that there are signboards that have Roman English on it, or they are written in Urdu, or they are written in English. They are mixed, and let us see that. Okay, so if you focus on this billboard that I have taken, so it's written that ye hui na delivery. So you can see that although it is written in English, but because the letters are English, but that is Roman Urdu, okay, because that is not pure Urdu language that is written. Let's move on to the next example. Okay, so the next example is about it's a laboratory. It's a laboratory that is very famous in Karachi in Pakistan, and we can see that in this picture, or in this board, it's written ESA laboratory, and it's written in English as well and in Urdu language as well, okay, because people are using English and Urdu, both the languages. So the board is the combination of both the languages. Now here is another example from the street of Karachi, and it says Mizan Bank. It is of a famous bank that is again in Pakistan. So you can see that it is again written in English and in Urdu as well. So they are using both the languages on the signboards, and it is very common. If you will move on in Pakistan, you will see that 90% of or 95% of the signboards or the billboards are written in English and Urdu. That is a mixture of both the languages. Okay, so let's see the linguistic landscape, and it is a famous shop Okay, so in these examples, you can see that the words that are, although if we take the example of the second picture, that is Islamic Shahed Center, so you can see that Islamic Shahed, although it is written in Urdu, okay, the language is Urdu, but you can see that they have mixed uh, two languages. That is, they have used center. I mean, that is, center is not a Urdu word, and people are using center as an Urdu word. And mostly, people do not know that what do we call center in English, in Urdu as well. So it's so common. Now, apart from the street boards and billboards, there are some of the landscapes that we can see on the street walls as well. Okay, so the pictures are not a little bit clear. So let me tell you that what is written on those pictures. You can see that it is on the first picture, it's written Al Qadir, and it's the name of a state, and they have written it in Urdu as well and in the English as well. Okay, so and if we see in the second picture as well, so they have used it's an ad of the hospital, and they have again used the English and Urdu, both the languages. Let's move on towards the next example. So you can see that it's a picture of a street, and here you can see that there are three shops, and the boards are over there. And what you can see that you can very clearly that they have used English and Urdu, and they have used the Roman English. For example, if we see that Al Noor hardware, okay, so it's Al Noor hardware. So we can see that hardware is an English word, but they have used that word in and they have in the Urdu, and they have written it in the Urdu language, so that the people can pronounce it and they can understand it clearly. Okay, so in the second board you can see that steel and cement. Okay, they are the words that are obviously English, and they have written it in Urdu, and so that the people can understand it better. So moving on to our next example, that is again of a shop, and it's a food street. The pictures of a food street. So you can see that they have. If we talk about the first picture, that clearly states that Ahmed Superstore. So again, you can see that there is a mixture of Urdu and English. Superstore is again a Urdu. It's an English word, and it's used as a Urdu word here. Now in the second picture you can see that it's written, although it's the picture is not clear, but let me tell you that what it's written over there. So it's clearly states that Subhanallah Juice Center. Okay, so you know that this Juice Center is not an Urdu word, but they have written it in Urdu language. And the third picture that states that Bismillah Manpasand Delhi ke Chutkhare. Okay, so Delhi ke Chutkhare, this is obviously it's a word, it's a sentence of Urdu language, but they have used Roman English to write it. Moving on towards our last example, that is of billboards. So you can see that in billboards as well, people are using both the languages, that is Urdu and English. As in the first picture, it's written Geo Bar Bar, and they have used English as well after that. So again, these billboards are the examples and the mixtures of both English and Urdu. So I hope that at the end of the video that the concept of linguistic borrowing is clear to you all, and still if you have any queries you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you.